Hey guys, today is day 27 of our Halloween movie challenge, and today we watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is the one from 1974. Um, it's the first time I've ever seen this one. I've never seen this one before. Um, it was all right. It wasn't a bad film. Um, I probably wouldn't rewatch it to be honest with you, but it was a decent film. Um, Short too, just under an hour and a half, I believe, and kind of like no story really to it, to be honest with you. Just kind of it's a group of friends, I guess, that are like going to like an old property that belonged to one of the characters' um, fathers, I believe, father, I believe, and they on the way there they see like this guy hitchhiking. They pick him up. He's a little crazy, kind of talks about working at the slaughterhouse. He ends up cutting his hand with the one of the character's pocket knife, and then cuts the character in the wheelchair. He cuts his arm. They end up kicking him out. They drive down to the property, and once they get there, they the house is completely messed up. Um, but yeah, so they get there. They end up two of them end up going down, trying to go down to like a watering hole type of thing where they can go for a swim, and for some reason they get sidetracked. I can't remember why. I don't know if it's because they couldn't find it or something, but they end up going to a house that's like a generator running and stuff, and then um, one of them goes in, and when he goes in, Leatherface is there, and he ends up hitting him with the mallet, and or the little like hammer, and hits him two or three times, takes him out, and then he ends up, he drags him away. Then the girlfriend goes in, and she she kind of had it rough. She ends up getting picked up and put onto a huge hook, the hooks that you hang like animals for after when they're being butchered, and he hangs her on there, and as she's hanging there, he turns on the chainsaw and ends up like cutting into the boyfriend who's laying on the table right across from her. So that's one thing I will say about the movie. They definitely have a lot of like uncomfortable moments in it, and they did a good job with that. Let me see, a little bit later on. So those two are already gone. Um, Another guy, one of the other men in the group go down. He ends up finding the same house, and he ends up walking in. He finds the girl in the freezer. He ends up when he turns around, there's Leatherface right there with a chainsaw. Ends up getting in, going after him, cutting him up, and then we're left with the guy in the wheelchair and the main actress, the main lead character. And none of the characters really had like much development either. Like I didn't really care for either one of them, to be honest with you. Like whether they lived or died, I didn't really care. The last one I kind of did, the female there. I forgot her name, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like none of them, there just wasn't enough to be said about them, to be honest with you. They were pretty forgetful. I mean, I'm not good with names, but I can't remember really anything about them either. Um, but then the guy in the wheelchair and uh, the last woman there, they're the last two characters. They're going through the woods. Um, Leatherface comes out, chops up the dude in the wheelchair. She runs off, and then the last, like, I don't know, half hour is pretty much her. And like she's running away. She ends up, of course, and end up going to the house. When she gets to the house, like she goes upstairs. She sees. I thought there were two corpses upstairs, but apparently not. Apparently it's like the grandfather and I'm assuming the grandmother, I guess. And the grandfather's actually alive, but he looks horrible. He looks like he's a corpse. The house is messed up too. Like everything, like their lamp shades and stuff like that. You can tell with like people's faces that were like cut and like stitched together to make the lamps. And that's what I was getting at earlier was that they did a good job with like a lot of like weird, like uncomfortable moments, like when the girl is tied up to the chair and they're just like laughing at her and the camera's like zooming in on her eyes and it was really uncomfortable, really strange. And she then they try to let the grandfather try to uh, hit her in the back of the head to kill her, and he can't do. He's barely able to sit in a chair, and let alone move his arm. So so that was kind of unique, kind of different. And then she ends up getting away. She ends up getting away um, because the grandfather can't hit her in the back of the head without help, and the crazy guy there is we find out is Leatherface's like brother, and there's a guy that they meet at a gas station earlier in the movie. He's the father, I'm assuming, of both kids, and all three of them are working together. The father just doesn't really like to kill, whereas the other two have no problem killing. But anyway, the crazy brother, they're both crazy, but the non Leatherface brother goes to grab the hammer, the mallet. She jumps out. She takes the advantage of it and jumps out the window. She runs away. They chase her down. As Once she gets onto the main road, though, there's a 18 wheeler coming, and he hits the non Leatherface brother and kills him. He runs him right over, and then Leatherface starts. The girl uh, runs up to the side of the truck. She climbs in as Leatherface is chasing. And for some reason, I didn't understand, but for some reason, the truck driver didn't just drive away. For some reason, they got out the other side and started running. So that was kind of weird. Like I didn't understand why you wouldn't just drive away instead of trying to, go the other side. But whatever, that's what happened. And he ended up he threw like a wrench or something, hit Leatherface in the head. Leatherface fell. He ends up cutting his leg with the chainsaw, and then the dude just keeps running. And then this blue truck comes up. We don't really get a good look at it, but a blue truck comes up. The girl jumps in, drives away, with Leatherface kind of trying to chase her. And then he gets too far away, and then you see Leatherface like standing there with the sun setting behind him or rising. It might be rising actually, and he's just like waving the chainsaw around, like kind of making all kinds of noise and stuff, and you can tell he's angry. And then it just cuts to the credits. That was the end right there. So it's a very like sudden end. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I felt about this movie. It wasn't a horrible movie. It wasn't terrible, but I didn't care about any of the characters that were in it. Like you didn't really feel for it. The girl at the end, you kind of felt for her a little bit, but other than that, I didn't really feel anything for any of these characters. Um, um, Honestly, the brothers were kind of cool like that. I thought the crazy brother was kind of funny. There was some moments where he was pretty comical and he kept things entertaining. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. Pretty forgetful to be honest with you with the movie. I mean, it's one of those if you're a Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan, like I would look at it, I would check it out just because, maybe you'll appreciate it more than me. But because I'm not a big Leatherface fan, so maybe this just isn't my type of movie. But I wanted to check it out. 1974 version. I know there's a bunch of different versions, but I did want to see this one. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't disappointed with it. It just nothing stood out to me really, except for those moments where it was like a little bit uncomfortable, and there was things that like, um, that made you feel like uncomfortable just watching it. Like I said, like with the camera focusing a lot on her eyes when she's like stressing out and stuff, when she's gonna probably be killed, and like just some of the things around the house, like how just creepy it is. You know what I mean? It has a very creepy vibe. Um, but yeah, so I mean that's my review of this movie, guys. Like I said, nothing majorly like major negative, but nothing major positive either. So, like I said, if you're a Leatherface fan, you got an hour and a half to kill. You haven't checked this one out yet. I would give it a look. For everyone else, it might still be worth checking out, but just be prepared that there's nothing that's gonna really like like suck you into the movie, I guess. But all right, guys, that's my quick look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and take care, guys.